Story 1. The Two Apples, a Lesson Worth a Fortune. One morning, a wise father decided to teach his son a simple lesson about business, using only 2 apples. "Go out and sell these 2 apples," the father said. "Come back when you've made a profit." Ethan sold both apples quickly and came home proud. "Dad, I made $4 today." He repeated the same thing every day. The effort was steady, but his results stayed the same. "Dad," he sighed, "I keep working hard, but I'm not growing. What am I missing?" The father smiled. "Let's take a walk. I want to show you something." He pointed at a bakery selling apple pies. "That's your answer," said the father. "Same apples, different value." "She doesn't sell apples," Ethan whispered. "She sells joy." "Exactly," said the father. "In business, success doesn't come from selling things. It comes from creating meaning." Years later, Ethan built his own cafe, not selling apples but happiness. A lesson from Jewish wisdom: don't just make money, make value. Story 2. The Diamond Lesson. One afternoon, Aaron placed a small diamond on the table and said to his son, "Tell me, Ethan, what's this worth?" Ethan turned it in his hand. "It looks small, maybe $100? Take it to the fruit market," his father said, "and see what they'll offer." At the market, the seller laughed. "Kid, I can give you $10. It's shiny, maybe good for my daughter." Next, Ethan took it to a pawn shop. The man examined it and said, "I'll give you $500. Finally, he went to a diamond store. The jeweler smiled and said, "Son, this stone is worth $50,000. "Dad," Ethan said, "the same diamond, 3 places, 3 prices. How is that possible?" Aaron smiled. "People can only see your value based on the place they stand and the knowledge they have." "So," his father said, "if you ever feel undervalued, remember, maybe you're just showing your worth in the wrong place." Story 3. The Candle and the Room. One evening, Ethan came home upset. He said, "Dad, our team is lost in darkness. No one knows what to do next in our project." Mr. Aaron quietly turned off the lights, then lit a single candle. The flame flickered gently, filling the room with soft light. "What do you see?" his father asked softly. Ethan watched the light dance. "Just a small candle, Dad." Aaron smiled. "Yet notice how one small light pushes away so much darkness. It doesn't fight it, it simply shines." "So," Ethan whispered, "you mean leadership isn't about control, it's about being the light others can follow?" His father replied, "Exactly. In business and in life, true leaders don't complain about darkness. They create light for others to see." The next day, Ethan walked into his office with new energy. Instead of blaming, he inspired, and his whole team lit up with him. Later that week, Ethan smiled, remembering his father's candle. A single spark of wisdom had changed the way he led forever. Aaron said gently, "Remember, son, the world doesn't need more noise or anger. It needs people who choose to be light." Because one candle may seem small, but in a dark room, it changes everything. That's how Jewish wisdom turns challenges into light. Story 4. The Empty Chair. Ethan had just become a team leader. Excited, he called everyone together to start a new business project full of promise. But soon, meetings turned into arguments. Everyone wanted to be heard, but no one truly listened. That evening, Ethan sighed to his father, "No matter what I do, my team just doesn't connect anymore." Aaron smiled and said, "At your next meeting, bring an empty chair. Don't say why. Just place it at the table." The next day, Ethan did exactly that. His teammates exchanged curious looks. No one understood. But something changed. People spoke softer, listened longer. The tension started to fade. Finally, someone asked, "Ethan, what's the chair for?" He smiled and said, "That's for the person who's not in the room." Aaron had told him, "In Jewish tradition, we often leave a space to remind us. Every decision affects people who aren't here to speak." That one empty chair changed everything. It reminded them to listen, to consider others, to think beyond themselves. In business, the wisest voices are often the quietest ones. Leadership begins when you remember who isn't in the room and still care. Story 5. The Broken Watch. On his 25th birthday, Ethan's father handed him an old, broken watch. "It belonged to your grandfather," he said. Ethan smiled politely but thought, "Why would Dad give me something that doesn't even work?" Curious, he took it to a local watch shop. The man said, "It's too old, maybe $20. He tried another shop. Same result. No one seemed to care about the watch. Finally, he visited an old antique store. The owner's eyes widened when he saw the watch. "This," the man said softly, "is a rare 1940s Swiss watch. I'll pay you $10,000 for it." Ethan froze. The same broken watch, worthless in one place, priceless in another. He ran home to his father and told him everything. Aaron smiled knowingly. "Ethan," he said, "when you feel undervalued, maybe you're just in the wrong place. The watch was never broken. It just needed the right hands to see its worth, just like people do." Story 6. The Two Coins. One morning, Ethan passed by a small charity box on the street, coins clinking softly inside. He reached into his pocket, found 2 coins and paused. He had plans that needed every dollar. Still, something inside whispered, "Give it anyway." So he did, and walked on. Moments later, a vendor saw him do it. Inspired, he handed food to someone hungry nearby. The hungry man smiled and shared what little he had, one act of kindness starting another. That night, Ethan told his father what happened, not thinking much of it. Aaron smiled and said, "In business and in life, son, coins aren't just metal, they carry intention. A wise person gives, not because he has much, but because he understands value moves in circles." Ethan finally understood. Every time you give, something greater starts moving, unseen but real. Generosity isn't about losing value. It's how value finds its way back to you. Story 7. The Broken Watch. Ethan came home overwhelmed. Time felt too short, and life felt too fast. His father watched him quietly, sensing the weight he carried. Aaron reached for something he hadn't touched in years, his old pocket watch. The watch's hands were frozen. Ethan looked at it, puzzled. "Do you know why I kept this broken thing?" Aaron asked softly. "It stopped the moment your grandfather passed, and it reminded me of something." "We don't run out of time," Aaron said. "We run out of attention for what matters." The message sank in. He wasn't losing time. He was losing focus. He breathed slowly, realizing time served him better when he chose where to place it. Sometimes, what's broken reminds us, life isn't about having more time, but using it with intention. Story 8. The Two Letters. That night, Ethan admitted he was stuck, unsure if he should keep going or quit. His father didn't rush to answer. He simply listened, deeply. Then Aaron pulled out 2 envelopes, one yellowed with age, one perfectly blank. "This," Aaron said, "is the letter I wrote when I wanted to give up. And this," he continued, is the letter I promised to write if I ever began again." He stared at them, one full of regret, one full of possibility. "Son," Aaron said, "we all reach a point where quitting feels easy, but starting again, that's where courage lives." And at that moment, Ethan realized the future wasn't something he waited for. It was something he chose. He took a deep breath and began writing the first line of his new chapter. Life always gives us two letters, the one we regret and the one we're brave enough to write today.